Hi, grade 9. So the last thing I'm going to do is to show you how to factorize common brackets that are not quite the same, but that we can actually make the same by just changing the signs. So this is factorizing with a sign change. Now, firstly, I gave you the notes and we spoke about when brackets are the same or when they are not. In other terms, we spoke about when binomials are the same and when they are not. For instance, I gave you an example and we said if we have positive terms, and let's say we've got x plus 7 and we've got 7 plus x. If we look at these two, okay, all that we've changed is the position. But actually, this is positive x plus 7 and this is positive 7 plus x. So in actual fact, both terms in each binomial, they're all positive, which means that they are essentially the same. They are actually the same, okay? So if you have a positive binomial which has been swapped around, it really doesn't change the value of the term. It doesn't change the meaning of that expression. So those are actually the same, and we can actually just factorize these as a common bracket. However, if you have, in our first example, we've got x minus 7 versus 7 minus x, then we have a bit of a problem because the x in this case is positive, the 7 is negative, here the 7 is positive and the x is negative. So that's not actually quite the same, okay? So what we need to do is we are going to do a sign change. Now you might know from all your rules in maths that you learned in grade 8 that when we multiply or divide by a negative value, let's say for instance positive 7 multiplied by negative 1, that would give me negative 7. Or if I have negative 7 and I divide it by negative 1, that would give me positive 7. So I could use this fact to actually change the signs so that I make the brackets the same. Now let's look at this. I've got a multiplied by x minus 7 plus 3 multiplied by 7 minus x. They have asked me to factorize, so I'm not going to multiply these out. It's not going to really get me anywhere, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see that x minus 7, I'd like to change this one to x minus 7. Now there are a couple of steps. So in the first case, I'm going to do it the long way to show you and explain why it is that this happens, right? So if I look at this, I can say that this is going to be a x minus 7 plus 3. Now look at this, okay? I want to change this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a negative 1. That means I'm going to divide each term in that second bracket by negative 1. And when I do that, remember this is multiplication, so that stays multiplication between that 3, okay? When I do that, what's positive 7 divided by negative 1? That's going to give me negative 7. What's negative x divided by negative 1? That's going to give me positive x. Okay, now I'm going to put this in square brackets. So this is the part I've changed. But if I multiply that negative 1 back into this bracket, then I actually haven't changed anything because I just get 7 minus x again. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply positive 3 by this negative 1 in front of this bracket. So that's going to be a x minus 7 negative 3. And then inside the bracket, I'm going to swap the terms or I'm going to switch them. Okay? Now remember, the sign in front of the term is attached to the term. So this sign goes with the 7 and that sign goes with the x. So wherever the x goes, the plus sign must go. Wherever the 7 goes, the negative sign must go. So what I'm going to get is a positive x and a negative 7. And I'll put this in a red bracket, okay? Now remember, we don't usually write the positive x there. We don't usually write a plus sign there, but we know that there's a plus sign there, okay? So this is now the same as that. It's also a plus x there, right? But what have we done before when we had the same bracket, a common bracket? We can factor that as a common factor. So this is x minus 7 and a minus 3. Okay, so that's the long way of explaining it. It's all the mathematics involved, okay? But if you look at it, what has happened essentially? Well, the term in front changed from positive to negative, and in my bracket, I switched the terms. So let's see what I can do here. That can be b x minus 5. I need to change 5 minus x. So that means I'm going to switch my terms, but remember I'll take out a negative 1. The negative 1 times the positive 2 is going to be negative 2, and that will change to x minus 5. I switched it, and now I'm going to take out common bracket as my common factor. I'm going to factor out the common factor. Okay, so this is in a nutshell what we are going to do. I've got a question. What if this was a negative 2 to begin with? What would you think would be different? Well, if this was a negative 2 to begin with, then when I factor out the negative 1, it would have been negative 1 times negative 2, which would have changed it to a positive 2 at the end. Now, I've given you a few more examples which you can go through, but I hope this video has helped you.